day 3 of our 21-day challenge. Feeling low or passivated? I don't think that's an appropriate response. Day 3 of 21-day challenge. We should all feel much more excited. So welcome to our day 3 of 21-day challenge of 5 a.m. club. A very good morning, all of you. So how are you guys doing? So are you able to wake up without much effort? So how is your experience so far? Yeah, a very good morning, all of you. So it's good to see you all early in the morning. As I said, it's no easy task. And you've all already taken the first step, which is often the most difficult one. So let's keep this momentum going. So day 3, we'll focus on a few topics, general as well as academic. We'll have a presentation in the same format. And I hope you guys are all ready. So 21-day challenge, day 3. I know you're all on fire. And also, I know you're all looking forward to this session to start your wonderful day with some wonderful topics. So first, we'll start with the general topic. The reference is from Psychocybernetics Maxwell Maltz, which you can see at the bottom, title reference. So what a rational thought can and cannot do. Remember that your automatic mechanism can as easily function as failure mechanism as a success mechanism, depending upon the data you give it to process and the goals you set for it. By the way, automatic mechanism is nothing but a mechanism that lies within us, that is our subconscious mind. Let me give you a most familiar example. Just now, the moment you woke up, I hope you have brushed your teeth. So, did you put any conscious effort in doing so, like calculating the amount of paste that has to be added on to the brush, and then trying to consciously reach each and every area, and also consciously spitting all the waste? So, did you do it consciously, or was it a sort of automated mechanism? So that's what we're talking about. So once we form a habit, it becomes or it gets fed into our automatic mechanism and we do it seamlessly, effortlessly. So remember that your automatic mechanism can easily function as a failure mechanism, as a success mechanism, depending upon the data you give it to process and the goals you set for it. It is basically a goal striving mechanism. The goal of brushing is to maintain oral hygiene. It's a matter of fact for any activity that we do. We basically are goal striving beings. The goals it works upon are up to you. Many of us, this might seem strange, but it cannot be more true. Just go through it very carefully. Many of us unconsciously and unwittingly, by holding negative attitudes and habitually picturing failure to ourselves in our imagination, set up goals of failure. We actually think we're working towards success, but unfortunately, we are setting up goals of failure because of these negative and pessimistic attitudes. We think we want to succeed in entrance, but the only thing that comes to most of our minds is, what if I fail? What would be the consequences? Isn't that unfortunate? So we're doing it without our knowledge, right? Because of various external factors, but we can change this. We have the power to change this. Also remember that your automatic mechanism does not reason nor question the data you feed it. It merely processes it and reacts appropriately to it. So it's a genie within. In fact, we discussed this elaborately previously also. We all have genie within. Whatever data you feed, it responds. Whatever you ask for, it responds accordingly. No questions asked. So let's continue. You never know until you try. It's a job of rational, conscious thought to examine and analyze incoming messages, to accept those which are true and reject those which are untrue. So the kind of data which we feed, as I said, we all have genie within. The kind of data which we feed into our automatic mechanism can be done consciously. That's what the author is trying to say. So it's a job of rational, conscious thought to examine, analyzing incoming messages and to accept which are true and reject which are untrue. So we all have a choice. We all can tell ourselves that yes, we can succeed by giving our best. Let me give you another common example. Many people are bowled over by the chance remark of a friend who says, "You do not look so well this morning." I mean, when someone says, "You do not look so well this morning," our entire day gets spoiled because we're literally accepting that, right? So that's what we're talking about. So if we reject or snub these things, then there won't be any issue. However, we blindly follow it, right? Whatever other person says, we blindly swallow the fact. That means we are consciously choosing negative and allowing it to affect our day. So if they are rejected or snubbed by someone, they blindly swallow the fact that this means they are an inferior person. Most of us are subjected to negative suggestions every day. If our conscious mind is working and on the job, we do not have to accept them blindly. It ain't necessarily so. Is a good motto. If someone says you look bad or you can't do this or do that, it ain't necessarily so. They don't know anything about us. So it's a job of the conscious rational mind to form logical and correct conclusions. That's why we have this huge matter in this cranium. I failed once in the past, so I'll probably fail in the future is neither logical nor rational. This applies for all the aspirants, especially those who are taking up the upcoming entrance. So I failed in the past is no correct or logical explanation to the fact that, or to the statement that you will fail in future. To conclude, I can't in advance without trying, and the absence of any evidence to contrary is not rational. We should be more like the man who asked or who was asked if he could play the piano. I don't know, he said. What do you mean, don't know? I have never tried. It's very simple. If I ask you this question, do you know how to play piano? What do you say? You say, mm, uh, I can't or I don't know how to play piano. You might say, I don't know how to play piano. If someone asks me this question, do you know how to play piano? I'll obviously say, I don't know how to play piano. I mean, how can I say I don't know, even without trying, even without learning, right? So, negative attitudes are very much embedded deep inside each and every one of us. We all have the choice to consciously overcome these attitudes by screening the messages that are coming from the external environment and entering into our automatic mechanism, right? So we all have a choice. And once we start feeding positive data, once we start feeding, you know, data of filled with enthusiasm, then obviously the entire day changes. Our perception towards the task at hand changes. And finally, in conscious rational thought, in short, the conscious rational thought selects the goals, gathers information, concludes, evaluates, estimates, and starts the wheels in motion. It's not, however, responsible for results. We must learn to do our work, act upon the best assumptions available, and leave results to take care of themselves. So, this would be one of the best strategies which we can implement, especially those who are preparing for competitive entrances. Just do your part and leave the rest. Assuming that you would fail, assuming that everything goes haywire, would be a counterproductive strategy. So, we need to do what we have to do. And this is a scientific basis for all these general statements which we usually discuss during our live sessions. So we need to do what we have to do, and the rest of the things will be taken care of, right? So this is the general part of the discussion of today's live discussion. I hope it's helpful, and always feel free to get back through mail or let me know if you need any further clarification of any sort or any guidance in regard to your preparation. Okay. So having discussed about these conscious thoughts, automatic mechanisms, and how they influence our activity or work, now let's move on to the academic part. We'll have some images and we'll have some image related discussion. Again, I hope you guys are all ready. And I know it's too late to ask this question. So is it streaming fine? Is the audio fine? When someone asked you, I mean, this is a continuation to the previous discussion. When someone asks you, do you know how to play piano? We, through automatic mechanisms, say, we don't know how to play piano. And I think that's a wrong answer because in my lifetime, I had never tried playing piano and never learned how to play piano. So rather than saying I can't play piano, the right answer would be I don't know how to play piano. I can't play piano implies that you're incapable. In fact, that's how we see ourselves when we say I can't play a piano. But when you say I don't know how to play piano, it means you're trying to imply that you haven't tried. And if you try, you'll definitely play well. So I think it has some deeper meaning depending upon the phrase which we use, right? So, anyways, let's jump into the academic part of the discussion. It's wonderful to know that audio and video are fine. I know it's too late to ask this question, but as they say, it's never too late. So, we'll discuss some images, histopathologic images, and then we'll have some related questions. So, the topic basically is the response of cells to various kinds of stresses. You know, we have hypertrophy, hyperplasia, metaplasia, atrophy. So we'll look into some of the histopathologic aspects and also some examples. Okay. First and foremost, as you can see, a physiologic hypertrophy of uterus during pregnancy. You know what? Pregnancy, uterus during pregnancy, you find both hypertrophy and hyperplasia, as you all are familiar with, right? So, physiologic hypertrophy of uterus during pregnancy, you can see a illustration gross appearance of normal uterus and a gravid uterus. So, in A, you can see on the right side, the smaller one is normal. The left side is a larger one where you have this hypertrophy, increase in the size of the cell. So that was removed for postpartum bleeding. And B, you can see small spindle-shaped uterine smooth muscle cells. And you can see the enlarged versions in illustration C, a large, plump, hypertrophied smooth muscle cells from a gravid uterus. So this is all for your comparison. Now the question is, what is hypertrophy? So as you know, increase in the size of the cell. Have you seen bodybuilders? Do you know Arnold Schwarzenegger or any bodybuilder? So it reflects hypertrophy of skeletal muscles, isn't it? I mean, is it hypertrophy of skeletal muscles in bodybuilders or is it hyperplasia of skeletal muscles? I mean, please do answer. And also let me know if it is hypertrophy or hyperplasia in case of biceps of bodybuilders. So hypertrophy is increase in the size of the cell. So when do you see hypertrophy? Especially in those cells which cannot multiply in number or incapable of division or further. So usually in them we find hypertrophy, right? As mentioned in Robbins. So the reference for all this information is Robbins Pathology, 9th edition. So hypertrophy, is it physiological or pathological? It can be both. Physiological, as we're seeing now in case of uterus in pregnancy. And what about pathological hypertrophy? Heart ailments, cardiac enlargement. So that is the best example for pathologic enlargement of cells, cardiac cells, in case of heart ailments. So hypertrophy can be both physiologic and pathologic. The examples are very important, right? So what about bodybuilders? Very good. In case of skeletal muscles, do you see rapid division once the cells are formed? Right? You can't. That's the reason why it's a classic example of hypertrophied skeletal muscle in case of bodybuilders. So in this illustration, just observe the illustration very carefully. Observe the organ And you're never going to forget this example. So physiologic hypertrophy of uterus during pregnancy. So this hypertrophy can be both physiologic as well as pathologic. And also you can compare the size of the cells. Now moving on to the next aspect of cellular response to stress, atrophy. Right, so atrophy as seen in brain, a normal brain of young adult, and atrophy of brain in 82-year-old man with atherosclerotic disease. You can see a narrowing of gyri and widening of sulci in the right illustration, that is B. Okay, so atrophy, it happens with age, as this is the best example we have. Also, if there is any fracture to limb, if there is immobility, you can expect atrophy, decrease in size of the cells due to decreased nourishment, decreased function. There are several reasons for atrophy. There are several physiological and pathologic reasons. Consider this very, very important. And we haven't discussed the examples of hyperplasia. We'll get back to that at the end. Before that, we'll look into another illustration, that is metaplasia. So metaplasia, is it reversible or irreversible? So that's one of the questions which we commonly ask. And also, what's exactly happening in metaplasia? Is it one adult cell type transforming into another kind of adult cell type? Or is it the change in expression or direction of stem cell differentiation leading to formation of a different cell? So this is very, very important. So it's not about one adult cell transforming into another adult cell type, but rather it's a reprogramming at a stem cell level, leading to differentiation and formation of a new cell type. So in case of chronic smokers, you all know the best example. So we have normal ciliated columnar epithelium, which are replaced by squamous metaplasia, which is of protective function. Because of various carcinogens and various chemicals that are entering the trachea and bronchi, there is this squamous metaplasia. It has this protective role. But unfortunately, due to this transformation or formation of stratified squamous metaplasia, there is loss of cilia, so loss of clearance, and also loss of secretion of mucus. And as a consequence, there is malignant transformation potential. So these are some of the aspects related to this. So as you can see, metaplasia of normal columnar to squamous epithelium in bronchus. Usually we find them in chronic smokers, right? So metaplasia is a reversible change, and it's not about transdifferentiation, that is transformation of one adult cell type to other. Rather, it's reprogramming at cellular or stem cell level, leading to formation of new cells. That is, instead of ciliated columnar epithelium in this area, there is formation of stratified various layers of squamous epithelium, squamous metaplasia. All right. So these are some illustrations. Observe them carefully, and there is no way you're going to forget them. Now let's look into the summary and conclude this session. So as you can see, cellular adaptations to stress. We'll conclude this with examples. Okay, hypertrophy, increased cell and organ size, often in response to increased workload. That is, you're going to gym. Physiologic hypertrophy, so induced by growth factors produced in response to mechanical stress or other stimuli. So these stimuli can be physiologic or pathologic. Occurs in tissues incapable of cell division. So this is something which I want you guys to highlight, right? So incapable of cell division. You usually find hypertrophy. Not in all cases. So examples, as we have seen, physiologic uterus, physiologic examples would be uterine enlargement in pregnancy. Pathologic examples would be heart ailments, right, leading to cardiac enlargement. Hyperplasia, increase in cell numbers in response to hormones or other growth factors, occurs in tissues whose cells are able to divide and contain abundant tissue stem cells. Now we'll deal with some examples. Physiologic hyperplasia, the best example would be a breast in case of females, puberty, and also in pregnancy, and also compensatory hyperplasia in case of liver, right? So you can just refer a literature for more information. So in fact, it's mentioned that within 12 hours, there would be once a lobe or piece of liver is removed, the remnant part starts forming new cells. Well, within 12 hours, it starts forming the mitotic activity. So hyperplasia, physiologic reasons, we have seen enlargement of breast and also compensatory hyperplasia. And coming to pathologic causes, viral infections such as warts, also endometrial hyperplasia due to imbalance between estrogen and progesterone hormones. Some examples. And then atrophy, decreased cell and organ size as a result of decreased nutrient supply or disuse, associated with decreased synthesis of cellular building blocks and increased breakdown of cellular organelles, as we have seen a gross specimen of a brain, a young brain with an 82-year-old brain, right? And also in case of fractures, when there is little use or minimal use of that particular limb or particular part, we can expect or anticipate atrophy, right? The consequence of decreased nutrient supply or disuse. And finally, metaplasia is in smoker's bronchi. Also, this metaplasia can happen in connective tissues, bone formation. We've discussed all these examples already. So in our classes, so metaplasia, change in phenotype of differentiated cells, often in response to a chronic irritation that makes cells better able to withstand the stress, usually induced by altered differentiation pathway of tissue stem cells, but not by transdifferentiation as we discussed prior, may result in reduced functions and increased propensity for malignant transformation. Consider this point very, very important. So which of the cellular adaptations to stress has a malignant transformation potential? So if there is a question of that sort, you should be able to answer, and you'll be able to answer, of course, right? So these are some of the topics which I wanted to highlight in this particular live session. I hope it's clear. So now all I would suggest you to do is once you're done, we're done with this live interaction, I wanted to spend just few more minutes to make a note of all that we have been discussing so far. I usually have this habit of making notes. I suggest you to make notes as well, customized notes, points which you find important or relevant, depending upon your prior knowledge in this topic, right? So you can do one thing for all 21-day challenge sessions. You can place one exclusive book or one exclusive section in your notes to note down various important points which we are discussing in the process, right? So I hope it's clear. And if you need any further clarification or you have any further queries, feel free to get back through mail 24/7. And always remember, standard references are of paramount importance. Okay. So before we conclude, again, well done, everyone. It's good to see that you are able to maintain this enthusiasm. Day 3 of 21-day challenge. You might think that there is still a long way to go, but it's completely untrue. You've already taken the first bold step, which is often very difficult, as I mentioned. So it's all about maintaining consistency now. So once you've taken the first step in right direction, so just maintain that consistency and momentum, and it's going to be a game changer, take my word. And also, this 21-day challenge will not be our final challenge. We'll come up with more challenges in a near future. So we'll try to incorporate as many new habits, new good habits as possible, which are going to enhance our personal and professional lives. Okay. So I've seen some of you saying that you're feeling comfortable waking up early in the morning now. And also I've been getting several wonderful positive reviews regarding these 5 a.m. sessions. So in fact, I shared one of the videos last night also in our updates group and also in YouTube channel. 5 a.m. has several advantages. You have all time for yourself, least distractions possible, the time where our concentration potential is at its peak. So we can harness this potential early mornings, valuable quality time to enhance not just our preparation, but also our personal life. So we get quality time for ourselves. So, what's the best investment, or what could be the best investment other than investing something in ourselves? So in this case, quality time, right? So I wish you all a wonderful day ahead. So all I would suggest to you is to keep this momentum going and do not sleep immediately. I'm not sure if you're sleeping now, but do not sleep after this session. If you feel drowsy, if in case you feel drowsy, have a power nap at around 9:30 or 10. But when you have quality food, and when you get adequate time, at least 6 to 8 hours, depending upon your physiologic status, then you should actually feel very energetic and enthusiastic rather than drowsy. If you're feeling drowsy, it means it's an indication that obviously you don't have adequate sleep. But don't sleep now. Sleep at around 9:30 or 10, or you can even have a power nap in the afternoon time. And most importantly, sleep early and have quality food, little quality food, especially during night times, right? So wish you all a great day. Love you all. Compensatory hypertrophy can be considered as a physiologic. Yeah. Saranya, I suggest to refer Robbins, you'll get the answer. And also get back through mail if you need any further clarification. Lactating, Vistas is lactating only hypertrophy, not hyperplasia. Yes. Metaplasia is reversible. Good to see you all answering. Yes. Okay, guys. Take care. I usually have this habit of saying good night because we usually have more of dinner sessions than early morning sessions. Thank God I didn't say good night. It would be very, very embarrassing if I say good night now, isn't it?